if you're saying that, and if I'm following you right, you have Moses. The covenant was now was given to Moses from Moses' time all the way to Jeremiah. My goodness, how many generations was that were they under a cursed position as well?
Well, they were in and out. So
In
when they were following the law and the covenant stipulations, they were in the blessed position. But
Okay,
when they broke that, and it happened many times, just read the book of Chronicles and Judges. Many times a nation would rise up with the head of the nation being evil, so God would kill him. It just read it. It's crazy. It's like, and then this king, when he built all the pillars to bash to all these things, and then his son came in and smashed them all down, and so they were in and out all the time. And that's why they were considered to be the faithless bride.
okay. So they were in and out of that blessing position and the cursing position. And I just see the mercy of God in all of that. Like, if I think if we were God, we the first time being like, okay, you lost it, boom, But so it's very interesting to look at it that way. But go on.
Well, yeah, because with Adam we see 10 generations. So we could go at least 400 years, and we see from Moses to Jesus, that's 500 years, 600 years, depending on 400 years, depending on where you date it. So very similar time period. So God gives a lot of time to get this figured out. So no, I'm right there with you. And now, after that 400 years, though, all that work of trying to live up to those stipulations, what do we read within Hebrews? So, Hebrews 3, now this is describing Jesus, and this is in reference to the Israel covenant, which is interesting because it says, therefore, just as this is starting verse 7, Hebrews 3, verse 7 to 11. Therefore, just as the Holy Spirit says, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as when they provoked me, as in the day of trial in the wilderness, where your fathers tried me by testing me and saw my works for 40 years. Therefore, I was angry with this generation and said, they always go astray in their heart. They did not know my ways. And I also swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest. So this is talking about the group of people Moses was leading. How do we know that? Well, if we continue down to verse 16, it'll fill this context in for us nicely, which says, for who were those who heard and yet rebelled? Was it not all those who left Egypt with Moses? So we're very familiar with Egypt rebelling against Moses, the tablets being destroyed. They had to be remade because instantaneously, as soon as they left Egypt, as soon as they came to the mountain, they made covenant with God. And in the midst of the Ten Commandments being forged, they had already gone and broken their faithfulness towards that covenant. So they were instantaneously starting their relationship in the curse. And
Mhm.
so this is referring to that. So God had to deal with a cursed position people right from the get go with Israel. Verse 18, he continues and says, and to whom did he swear that they would not enter his rest? But to those who were disobedient. So we see that they were unable to enter because of unbelief. Now, Hebrews 4 is where it gets very interesting for us because it says, now good news had come to Egypt and pulled Israel out of Egypt with Moses. Good news came to them just as it came to Israel through Jesus. But the message Moses heard did not benefit them because they were not united with faith in those who had listened. So now the writer of Hebrews goes on to say, so that we in Jesus's time, we now who have believed, they are entering rest from
Mhm.
the curse of the Israelite law. As it says, as they swore, they shall not enter my rest. But in verse Hebrews 4:10, what does it say? For who has ever entered for whoever has entered God's rest has also rested from all of his works, just as God has. They rested from the works of the law. Just
Mhm.
as Isaiah says, you performed for us all of our works. So you have made peace with us. And here we have the peace being made. And what was the peace? It was the peace of Noah. God sent a man to bring them rest from the labors of their works.
So can I summarize real quick?
Go
So
ahead. Well, I got a couple more to hit you with here.
what are you saying right here? Just a
Okay,
little
yeah, yeah.
uh, So Adam to Noah, you have a Messiah figure in Noah, where from Adam
Yes.
to Noah, they were in a cursed position. But now it's been prophesied here in Genesis that Noah would bring them rest, this Messiah figure. In parallel to Moses to Jesus's time, Jesus is now that Messiah figurehead, like Noah was to Adam, or the kingdom of Eden, we might say. Here we have the kingdom of, it's not Israel, but the kingdom of Judah now coming to an end, but with a Messiah figure that is going to do something totally different than Noah. But nonetheless, now they're going to be what, put into blessing position or relief? What?
Well, yeah, that's even go a little bit more. It's a good point to summarize this because this is a big concept.
Yeah.
So we have Adam enters into covenant with God, and the covenant is you get to choose from life or death, blessing or curse. God enters into covenant with Israel and says, I give you choice, either go life or death.
Mm-hmm.
Adam chooses death and gets punished and transitioned into the punishment side. Israel breaks covenant and moves into the punishment side. Adam gets cursed. Israel gets cursed. Noah comes to take the curse away and relieve them from the results of that covenant breaking. Jesus comes to relieve Israel from the curse of the covenant breaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100% duplication. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very, very important. It's just, I just needed a pause moment to just soak all that in. And I know we've talked about this before, but it just sounds good to go over it and over it because there's so much going on.